Alicia can take any if she wishes to.
Ms. Allred, I have a question.
Would you speak up, please? Thank you.
Yes, I have a question. Emily Valdez, KNX. I recall the survivors saying that they were going to put together their own list and release it. Do you have any update on that?
The question is that she recalls the survivors indicating that they would put together their own list of others, third parties, in addition to Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, whom they allege sexually exploited or sexually abused or sex trafficked them. The question is, have they done that? The answer is each one of them knows their own truth. They don't know what happened to many others. There are alleged to be 1,000 victims of Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not sure if anybody knows the exact number, but many. So they may know what happened to some of their friends, but maybe they don't know the whole picture. That's what they're looking for. As to the actual release of the names, that would be very dangerous for the survivors to do it. And there are many attorneys involved, and I have no doubt that the attorneys have warned them that if they release the names of others who sexually abused them and said, Mr. X raped me, Mr. X sexually assaulted me, that they could be sued by the person whose name they released, who would then say, you have accused me of a crime because rape, sexual assault of a child, these are crimes. And that person was likely to say, you have defamed me, I'm innocent, I didn't do it, and therefore I have filed a defamation lawsuit against you. Most of these survivors do not have sufficient funds to pay an attorney to defend them against a civil defamation lawsuit, which could run hundreds of thousands to potentially over $1 million in fees and costs. That's a danger, and they could be tied up for years in depositions and in that lawsuit, even if it goes to trial, which it may or may not ever go to trial. Having said that, I would be really surprised, anything is possible, if a survivor decided to release all the names that she knows about. Now, I believe that it was a member of Congress, perhaps it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm not sure, who said that she would release all the names on the floor of the Congress. Well, she would have some legal protection if she did it during a congressional proceeding. However, she's likely to be asked at some point who gave her those names. And then if it comes out that the survivors did, or any of them did, it may be that the survivors, again, will have further legal troubles. So the answer is, I don't know what will come next for the list of the survivors. Accusers. Well, the survivors who are accusing a third party. Okay, thank you. Good, great question. How would they do that? Are there any other questions for Alicia or for myself?
Do you know Spanish at all?
Sí, un poquito.
Enough to answer questions?
No.
Or say anything in Spanish?
Probably,
yes or no?
un poquito.
Probably not enough.
A little, but probably not enough. A little, un poquito.
But
It's
if
muy
you
mal, the situation. And I want it to be muy bien. It's muy mal.
Okay.
This situation.
If you'd like to wait until afterwards, I could have somebody translate for her. Okay, be happy to do that. Is there anything further? Any other questions? The last one was a very good one. Okay.
I'll ask, what would you love to see happen, like, for your case and for just this whole overall situation? What would be the greatest thing you'd like to see in your guys' corner?
Well, yeah. There's no case pending right now, because in reference to the criminal case of Jeffrey Epstein, he's now deceased. And in reference to Ms. Maxwell, the Supreme Court did not agree to hear her appeal. And so the only hope for her will be a pardon or commutation from the president, which reportedly she's seeking. But in terms of the survivors, they've always wanted truth and transparency. They would like to see all of the files released that the Department of Justice has. That, in other words, that would include investigative files from the FBI, from Homeland Security, and from any prosecutions which took place. I mean, the Jeffrey Epstein prosecution had begun, and then he died mysteriously in New York in custody. And they'd like to see all the files released from the Ms. Maxwell case as well. So that's what they're fighting for, is accountability and justice. It's not over just because there's been conviction of Ms. Maxwell and death of Jeffrey Epstein. I just want to add there's been a great deal of criticism of Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, who interviewed Ms. Maxwell in prison and who has now said recently, when some inconsistencies arose in the answer she gave him that day compared to other responses she had given in the past, that he didn't have in his possession, or the Department of Justice didn't have, emails from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. So that raises even more questions. Why didn't they, if they didn't, why didn't the Department of Justice ever subpoena the emails in the Jeffrey Epstein files of the estate? How could a Deputy Attorney General of the United States go in and interview a convicted felon without having possession of those files? Again, more questions than answers. I don't know any prosecutor who would have done that. And of course, to have that high-level prosecutor even interviewing Ms. Maxwell is also very suspicious as well. Any other questions?
If this doesn't work, you know, Trump wanting to release the names and stuff, what do you think would work to finally, like, get these files, get these names? Like, this case has been going on for a long time.
And again, now, because he's directed the criminal investigation of these high-profile Democrats, such as former President Clinton and others, this further complicates the whole situation. Is the Department of Justice going to say, well, we can't release anything that would be the usual profile in reference to these Democrats because we're investigating them, so we can't let the public know any evidence about them? So will they use that as a reason not to release that part of the files? But then what about any Republicans, high-level, rich, famous, powerful men who also associated with Jeffrey Epstein, who were Republicans? I want to just add, in all my years involved in this case, and and discussions with many survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, not once has anyone said to me, is the person who sexually abused me a Democrat or a Republican? It's not something they cared about. They just wanted justice for him. They didn't care if he even ever voted or was an independent or not affiliated with the party. So now we're just involved in this political bloodbath, trying to get answers. So all I can say is when the fog of political war clears, I certainly hope that the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein will have more answers and information than they have now.
I have one
Go
more.
ahead.
Oh, I wanted to get, Ms. Alden, is it okay, are you comfortable sharing a little bit of your story of what happened to you with Jeffrey?
You want to get closer here to the camera?
I'll move this.
Okay, go ahead.